Hello, I'm Random Gamer Riven and welcome to a new randomised gaming video. And today is our extensive gameplay coverage of Angelique Special. Now, just before I begin, I'm actually going to re-go over the initial introduction, just to provide a quick guide to the translations of what's going on here, because fortunately I've actually got a lot of help from the Wikipedia on the game. So the first question he's actually asking you is what type of persona are you? In the first two, the left one is energetic and the right one is mild manner, and this will decide your links to the other characters. Now, once you've chosen one of them, if you choose mild manner, you will jump straight to the easy, difficult, hard difficulty question. If you choose energetic, you will then be taken to this screen, which you can stay with energetic on the right, or you can become determined on the left. So basically left here now is determined and right is still energetic. And what these three settings do is they decide on what your attitude is, basically what colour the dressings in your bedroom are, and also which characters you initially start with preferences to, so who you're allied with. You'll have stronger relationships with certain characters and not others. Now the second question you're about to see here is the difficulty question, and the one on the left there is easy mode and the one on right is hard mode. There's not a huge amount of difference, except on hard mode Rachel is of course harder. You can also visit Rachel's room to forge your stronger relationship with Rachel, but that's only available on hard mode. So the two symbols agree to put the game difficulty to easy, so she basically says she'll hold back. And finally this question here, to the left is do you want to see the tutorial? To the right is I don't want to see the tutorial. Because I've already done a tutorial video, I'm just going to skip over the tutorial and we're going to go quickly into the main game. So as you saw, I've chosen the energetic personality, so this means I'm stronger with Clevadus, Zepil, Luvar, I just check here, Timuka and Ernest, the field researcher. And then we have, if you're determined, which I believe is blue colour, is basically your room's blue colour, is Randy, Oscar, Oliver, Celan, and the merchant you're got conversations with. And finally the mild manner gives you better relationships with Julius, Lamail, Marcel, Victor and Mel the fortune teller. Yes, they're all slightly crazy names as I said before. Okay, so as you saw there, what I've just done is put some energy into the various cosmos. So I've actually initially start off primarily with this playthrough. I did half the game. I covered the first section, I covered quite a large part in the second section. I didn't see it all. I got into a very nasty spin where I was battling my rival constantly towards the end, but basically I'd create a planet, she would destroy it, I would then create a planet, she would destroy it, I'd create one, she would destroy one, and that went on for about an hour. And I did this in total for about 3 hours, probably close to 4, and I realised it was not fun for me playing and it wasn't fun for me watching, so I put an end to it at that point. But what I will say is I did actually include a number of the animation sequences at the end that I had seen across the course of my playthrough videos. I've done about 12 hours of footage for this, so you'll get to see that. And I'll explain what's going on in a second, just to give you a full rundown. But if you want to see some of those animated videos, there's a few in this playthrough. There's also, I've tacked on a load of the other ones I've seen at the end. And interestingly, if you do have VLC, you can actually view the endings and the various intros by going into VLC, basically inserting the game disc into your PC and viewing the CPAC files. It doesn't have audio, but you just get the animation. The audio are actually contained as bin files, so in order to do that, I believe you have to mount it via mounting software. I think some people suggest you can do it by Demon Tools, and that way it'll piece it together, and that way you can supposedly watch the videos with both the audio and the video intact. But as I said, if you just with VLC, which is a free media player, you can actually view the video files. No audio, but the video does play. Okay, so this is the actual main game itself, as you can see. So just to explain what I've been doing in the past few goes is I've been going to the various Guardians and getting them to add their mana to the cosmos to create the star. This first part of the game is all about creating the star. And basically, I made a slight mistake here in that I was moving between Guardians. I shouldn't have been. I should have stuck with one for this first part. You really shouldn't. Basically, there are two options when you speak to the Guardian. One is you can... Basically, the initial question is do you want to talk to them? Then the next question is to the left is do you wish to add to your star, or do you wish to subtract from her? Basically, do you wish to subtract from her star? And then the question after that is add a little, add a lot, and this is the same again if you're doing the subtract, it's subtract a little, subtract a lot. Now, basically we actually drew this first section because we both filled up, the star has 6 stages you need to fill it up. I filled up 3, she filled up 3. What that meant is it was actually a draw, so no one got the bonus heart at the end, whereas previously I had won 4-2 and I've got a bonus heart. I should point out that it doesn't end until all 6 orbs are filled up, so even if you whitewash your opponent you still have to fill up all 6 orbs. So I'm just leaving town. So this is Luva, and like I said, that's add universe, and then that's add a lot. So basically, yes, I do want help. I'm going to add to my star, and I want to add a lot of energy. That will actually take up all 4 of your hearts. And basically, for this first part of the game, that's all you need to do. You don't really need to interact with the fortune teller unless you really want to know what your relationship status is. You don't need to interact with Ernest at all, except unless you're desperate to find out the current status. But you have to check out your status every week anyway. So, as you can see now, you'll notice that at the end of when you go to sleep, the Guardians then come up and do their tasks. Now, I didn't ask Zephyl, to the white-haired kid, to give his power to the universe, so that means I know Rachel's done it. He does actually say their name, and if you work out the Japanese characters for your name and Rachel's name in Japan, you can actually see which character they're saying, because they basically say, I'm giving my power to Rachel, I'm giving my power to Angelique. So again, so here I go, Zephyl. I'm going to visit him. So yes, I want your help. I want to subtract, so this is actually minus 1, that's a look of horror on his face. And I want him to subtract a little from her star. So subtract a little from the star. This, you subtract enough, it will decrease her element gain. Now I'm going back in, and now I'm going to talk to, let's see, who did I talk to? This is Oliver. He's the Guardian of Dreams. He's a slightly wacky one. And yes, add a little. So that's, yep, and add a little. So basically I wanted to add to my universe and add a little. And basically that's primarily the whole of the game. Now the reason you want to subtract is you'll shrink, in this opening stage, you'll shrink her portion of the star. I should have actually just stayed with one Guardian, just subtracted when necessary, just to put the balance. I didn't, so this first section was a draw, which is a bit disappointing. But basically that is actually pretty much it. So basically I'm going to stay off the dialogue now till we get to the end of the week, where you basically really want to go on the dates. So basically Saturday and Sunday you can't actually get the Guardians to donate their power to your cosmos. Instead you basically get a choice. One, I think it's Saturday is the day where you have to you get to romance the Guardians because most of the other places are closed, and Sunday is the day when everything's closed bar the research centre. So this is actually Friday, I believe, because I remember that symbol. So basically this indicates this is the last day I can do anything in terms of adding power. Now, here's the thing, you'll often run into Rachel sometimes out and about. If that's the case like there, you'll know she's either going to add to her cosmos via Zephyl, or she's going to subtract from your cosmos via Zephyl. So, because later on you'll see every time I encountered, basically I was mainly using Zephyl, which was slightly my fault in the end because I relied too much on him towards the end, and thus eventually his power actually weakened. But you'll notice that every time I started going into her room later on, because we were constantly fighting it out as this playthrough went on, that I'd just go into his room, she was there, she would subtract, I would add, and it just went on and on and on. So really I should have mixed up the Guardians a bit more. But I had a love interest relationship with Zephyl. He was completely into me 100%. So to speak, I had the max intimacy and a relationship status, so basically I could do anything. But it turns out she can still subtract your rival, even if when they're not that much allied with them, can still subtract quite a bit, which was quite frustrating. And I also worked out that you do have to balance the powers, and I'm not entirely clear how you work that out. So this is of course the day where everything's closed. I said this is Saturday or Sunday, might be mistaken. Basically this one, the only thing you can do is go into the palace and basically go into the research center, and this is your little cosmos animal, and here's where you check your progress. So you can see there the 6 orbs between me and Rachel, so Angelique, is basically the meter. None of them are filled up yet. As soon as you fill one up, the star in the background will grow slightly. So that's all you can do this day. This is an ideal day for dating, so ideally you want a knock on the door. If there is a knock on the door, accept the date, go on the date, because else you're just wasting points checking your current status. So that's actually Saturday, and this is Sunday, I believe. As you'll notice, Sunday has... The park is open, so you can buy items from the merchant, although the merchant is not in the first section of the game. He doesn't appear till the second half. Same with the schools, they're not open, so this first half. So incidentally, as you can see there, I bumped into Rachel and Luvar. So that means she's romancing him, so she's trying to increase her hold with him. So it's a good idea to keep a track on who's Rachel romancing, so that way you know who she's going to get to add them their power, so you can subtract it from her thing heavy on if it looks like she's going to win.
誰かと思ったらおめえかよ。休みの日にわざわざここへ来るなんて。おめえもほんとよくやるぜ。
So this is the dating bit. This is where I ask him, you basically can approach any of the guardians and ask them if they want to go on a date, and then you say, do you want to go on a date with me? And then they ask if you want to go outside, indoors, to the park or to the lake. Now, if you approach the guardians in the palace, it's dependent on your intimacy whether they will actually date you. They may sometimes knock you back and say, no, I'm not interested, and if that happens, you actually lose the 2 hearts you spent asking them out, which is a bit of a pain. So now here's the dating section. As you see, you go on a tour. Now there's the left and the right path. The left one in the park, you gain more intimacy, as I mentioned in our review, but you stand more chance of getting knocked back because you have to answer 3 questions. So that's the left path, you have to answer 3 questions. The right path is the easy one, you only have to answer 1 question. Now, as you know, Randomised Gaming, we are about reviewing games randomly, and we have reviewed this, so by all means check out the blog. I'll put a link to this in the bottom. But as I mentioned in the review, and I included a few pictures, you get any of the questions wrong on the date, they will put a look of horror on their face, and then the date is over and you will actually get a negative towards your relationship status with that character. It's actually really, really, as I said in the review, it's slightly creative the way you just ask one thing wrong and they look at you horror like, no, she disagreed with me, no, I'm not having this, goodbye. It's just quite funny the way they'll just run out on you. And it's just like, yeah, I can see why all these guys are still single. It has a very childish approach to dating. Admittedly, this is a kid's game, but it does feel like they've really not put a huge amount of effort into it. It's very limited, as I explained in the review. So I think from here on out, I'm not going to talk that much till we get to the second half, just to explain a bit about the planet building. It's fairly straightforward from here. There's a few things like you'll see me at one point go to the fortune teller to increase the relationship status with one of the characters, mainly just to show off. If you meet any of the guardians out, basically sometimes when you go to the palace, the guardian isn't there. If they're in certain areas, you can then ask them special things. I think Ernest, if you're at the research lab, they can add, or they tell you how much your power needs. If they're at the fortune teller, you can actually increase their relationship stats with someone just by telling them to get along better with someone. If they're at the park, you can ask them out on a date. And sometimes they might not actually be anywhere particular, they might just be chatting to another guardian. So if you want to find them and they're not in any of those locations, then you might because usually if they're locked into one of those locations, you can't then talk to them for the duration of that day. But sometimes you can find them chatting to another guardian or chatting to one of the teachers, and then they will then exit that area and then go back to their room. And as I explained in the review, it is a very, very repetitive game, hence why I didn't basically film all of it, because it got so repetitive. That and the fact I was starting to lose ground because I realised a few mistakes I was making and was understanding the game even better than when I started. Because originally when I first played this game, I didn't have a clue, and I sort of read up on... There was a guide on Game Facts to the first game for the Super Nintendo, because apparently that's been partially translated. And then there's the KOEI wiki pages I found, which were very helpful for helping me get an understanding of what's going on, and then I gradually pieced everything together to work out how you can actually play this game. So you'll notice we actually draw the mid-section, which is interesting because if you draw it or win it, you get an animated sequence. If you lose it, you don't. Fortunately, as we drew it, we get the animated sequence, so there's a nice little in-between animation, I should say. This is the Dark Guardian, by the way, and he's a slightly strange fella. As you can see there, darkness and music, etc. I win around the 20 days mark. I'm not going to say any more now. I'm going to jump to the next section, so I'll let you play and listen to the music in peace.
誰かと思ったらおめえかよ。休みの日にわざわざここへ来るなんて、おめえもほんとよくやるぜ。
Okay, so this is Luvar adding his power to the universe for the last time as he completes the star. This was slightly my folly. That was actually Rachel adding the last of her power, so we end up with an even split. So as you can see there, the star starts beating, and all of a sudden, I think he's saying, yay, the star's complete. We may now begin planet building, and you get a nice little animated sequence. So here is the Queen and the Advisor again. Incidentally, as I mentioned in the review, and I think I mentioned in the previous video, the Queen is actually the protagonist from the previous game, and the Advisor is the rival from the previous game. So obviously despite the fact the Queen won, she kept her rival on as her new best friend, and they lived happily ever after in this kingdom. And actually, supposedly this is a new kingdom. So upon completion of the first objective in the game, the schools open up. So this is Victor, the one with the scar over his eye, and basically he is one of the tutors. There's two others in the form of Temuka and Cienlan, although I think Sealand sounds more like it should be Cecil, but just don't understand the English translations of some of these names. Instead, I should say the English translations are actually included in the manual, which is how I know they are so weird. They just don't make any literal sense. A few of them do make sense, but quite a few of them don't. So, as you see there's the first half of the game over. Now, ironically, because we finished on I think it's a Sunday, we have to go to the thing to check out the new planet building site. Of course, because we haven't built any planets, it's just a blank environment. So there's the star, and basically the little dog creature, he walks around, and you can, if you've got planets, you'll see which ones are yours and which ones are Rachel's. And each of the Guardians also have their own planets. So basically whichever Guardian you ask to build, the planet will be made from their nature, so you can see how many are Zepiel's planets, how many are Julius's planets, how many are Marshall's planets, etc. Now here's where the balancing needs to be a bit more tighter, and I probably wasn't tight enough when I did this first time round when I was doing this video, because before I say anything, here's the merchant, and basically you'll notice the merchant wasn't around before. He doesn't appear till the second half of the game, but basically goes to this nice chap and he sells you an array of items that you can then give to the Guardians as gifts. This will of course increase your rating with any of the Guardians. although apparently it can subtract from the rateages of Guardians if you buy multiple Guardians gifts and then they visit one another and see that you've bought another Guardian a different gift. So here you go, because it's a dating day, so I'm going to approach Sapel, give him the gift and ask him out on a date, I believe. Incidentally, you can't, just because you give them a gift does not mean they're guaranteed to take you out on a date. I had that a couple of times where I gave them a gift and they still rebutted me. So there's that last question is actually, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go to the lakes? Do you want to go to the forest? I think he actually rebutted me there. Yeah, he did. He's actually refused the date. So because I only have 1 star left, it's actually to cost you 2 hearts, I should say, not stars. 2 hearts to actually ask any character out on a date. It's 1 heart to buy an item. And there's a couple of things, it varies. I've not seen any 3 heart actions. They're predominantly 4, 2, and there's a few 1s. And the 1s are slightly annoying at first because generally if you use a 1 heart action, you can't really do much with the other 1 heart. There's a few things. You can get the fortune teller to use one of her abilities of 1 heart. You can write a letter once a week to the Guardian to ask them out for the date on Saturday or Sunday. Again, you can do that once a week. And that's about it really for 1 heart. There's actually a bonus 1 heart if you can sometimes encounter Rachel in the tutors area. If that happens, usually the tutor will cost you 2 hearts, but if Rachel's there, it'll only cost you 1 heart as you tutor with her. So you'll notice now he's actually talking to me, which indicates that we have a very strong relational status. Basically, if you go on the dating day, they will always have a bit of VO. If you go on any other day and they start talking to you, it means you have a higher relationship status with that character. So basically from here on out, this is the planet building stage. You'll see me crush a few of her planets. She crushes quite a lot of mine as I start taking the lead. You'll see me gain a few extra hearts. I think I got 2 extra hearts in the end, although I've cut this video quite heavily short because it goes on for about 2 hours, and originally I had about 4 hours of footage and I cut out the last 2 hours because I'd got to about day 100 and something and basically nothing was happening. It was just a constant battle, and as I said, we were deadlocked, pretty much destroying and building planets at the same time. It's got pretty boring, but as you can see there, that's a Zelhair planet. He's just built for me, and annoyingly as it goes on later on, I think I should, because basically I primarily just go for Zelhair. I should have split it up a bit, because one thing I did learn is that not only do you need to keep your tutelage up. Now, ironically, I was doing that a lot, but I was still losing planets, which irritated me slightly. So basically, if you don't tutorage enough, your planets will break automatically. The other thing is, there only appears the Guardians can only donate so much of their power to each cosmos. It would appear once that happens, they can't build too many more planets. And I just stated with Zahel, who's the main character I had any friendship with, was giving me next to nothing because he had given me so many planets. I think something stupid like 40 or something odd by the end. But half of well over 2/3 of them have been destroyed because Rachel was just constantly destroying them, and it just lost any sense of fun. So basically I cut it short. So you'll see as I go on, there's one other intro. I think I've got at least one of the animated intros here. The rest of the animated intros are at the end. Now, the other thing is you can also romance the tutors as well in the school. So if you don't fancy romancing the Guardians, you can romance the tutors. You maybe even be able to romance a few of the other characters. I don't think you can romance Ernest. I don't think you can romance Mel or the Merchant, although there are friendship intros for them. You can see go to Zahel. Yeah, so every time now it gives me that dialogue. You have to, I discovered you have to press B to skip because it got right on my nerves every time he would just start speaking. So yep, add to my cosmos, that was what I was doing there. And add lots to my cosmos. So that pretty much covers it. I'm not going to say too much more. Basically, you've got an hour of this, so enjoy it. It's not the best game I've ever played. I really don't want to ever have to play any of this series ever again. To be brutally frank, it's not my cup of tea. I do think it's a very, very repetitive strategy game. There are a few nice ideas here, but everything, it looks to me like one of these really cheap games, and I suspect KOEI did it pretty cheaply, although the series must be doing something right in Japan as it's still going strong. And as I mentioned in our review, there's actually a Vita version coming out very soon. There's loads of games in the series. It started on the SNES, there's some on the Saturn, some on the PlayStation, some on the PC Engine, there's a ton on the PS2, there's a couple on the PSP, and there's now at least one coming to way on the PS Vita, so... There's Victor, I'm just chatting to him, just felt like he was just tootling me. And basically, yeah, I think I've taken a few other dates. I cut out quite a few of the more amusing dates, I think, because they weren't till later on. I, of course, cut it short. So that's it. That's where I'm going to end it. You can sort of check the stats and stuff. Incidentally, if anyone is actually interested in wanting to translate the menus, I don't mind taking snapshots of all the menus for written translation, because even though I'd quite like to figure out where exactly I went wrong. I believe it's because I didn't sweet enough of the Guardians towards the end, and basically Zethel's power, he had added too much to the Cosmos, and I needed to add more of the other Guardians, because I believe a couple of things tell you whose power the Cosmos is lacking. As you can see here, it's a pretty straightforward game. So I'll leave it there. As I said before, if you want to watch, there's up to 2 hours. At the very end of the video, I've got about 6 or 7 additional of the animated intros I encountered along the way tagged on at the end, because although they usually appear once after a voting meeting, but as you'll tell, I've actually cut short a lot of it, but you'll be able to see them at the end just because the animated intros are actually quite nice to watch. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of this video, and I'm Random Gamer Riven signing off.
おめえってさ、他の女と違ってピーピー泣かねえし根性もあるよな。おめえのそういうとこ結構気に入ってんだぜ。
あ、こんにちは。休みの日にも来てくださるなんて、僕のこと気にかけてくださってるんですね。
俺おめえのこと嫌いじゃないぜ。だからもっと会いに来いよな。俺は別にどうでもいいけど、おめえ俺に会いに来たいだろ。俺おめえのこと嫌いじゃないぜ。 俺おめえのこと俺 俺おめえのこと
うん、今日もいい笑顔だね。そうやっていつも笑顔でいることが美しさを生むんだよ。知ってた？
俺、おめえのことは嫌いじゃないぜ。
クラビスってさ、どうして髪切ったの？
そんな俺に聞かれても分かりませんよ。
はーい、クラビス、どうして髪切っちゃったのさ。すんごく綺麗だったのに。
オリビエ様、
別に特に理由があったわけではない。ただ切らない理由がなくなったというだけだ。
ふーん。振られたのか吹っ切ったのか微妙なとこだね。どっちかな？
だから俺に聞かないでくださいってば。
ああ、どうした休みの日に。熱心なのはいいが頑張りすぎて疲れないようにな。
俺おめえの 俺俺俺 俺俺
よ、水の守護聖殿。
オスか。
物思いにふけっておられるご様子だが、また人が争うのは見たくないなんてお考えかな。オスか、またリュミエールに絡んでんの？争うのが嫌いなやつに絡んでもつまらんだろ。私に言わせると、あんたたちの方が仲がいいのか悪いのかわかんないね。
女王試験か。
らしくないですね。
考えてもみろ。我々の指導いかんで次の女王が、つまり宇宙の未来が変わっていくんだぞ。
面白いじゃないですか。僕もそう思います。試験に協力できるなんてめったにないですよね。
やれやれ、若い連中は前向きで羨ましいな。
そんな言い方、女王候補に笑われますよ。
どう？こんな遠乗りも久しぶりですね。
この光景だけは変わらないのだろうな、いつの時代も。
なんだとゼフェル、もう一度言ってみろ。
ああ、言ってやるよ。なんでつまんねえことに。
つまらないだと？女王陛下の謁見だぞ。
つまんねえことはつまんねえんだよ。
お前はいつだってそうだ。
なんだよ。
もう二人ともいい加減にしてよ。そんなんじゃ前の女王試験の時から全然変わらないじゃないか。
マルセル、
いつになく強気だな。
心配はいらなかったみたいですね。